make some stuff blow up. Next slide.
Be careful with
Thomas
that.
Jefferson. We don't even need C4. We just use our minds. Thomas Jefferson, another pedophile, a racist. How you gonna marry a girl that's 14 years old, have children with her, and then keep them as slaves? Even after your will, you wouldn't even release them. Your own children. Look at his comment. It's a direct comment on black people. So if anybody tells you honor Thomas Jefferson, if they open up a book in school, say I can't read about him. He's a racist. He's in the same category as Adolf Hitler. Look at what he said. This is the actual source. The blacks, whether originally as a distinct race or made distinct by time and circumstance, are inferior to the whites in the endowments both of body and mind. Well, don't you know that old Tom in secret was an excavator of mounds throughout Virginia? Some good books to get on it. Saga America by Barry Fell talks about how old Thomas knew who the ancient mound builders were in America. And this is the source right here, straight from the notes on the state of Virginia. What? Are inferior. So it's a crime to make little black children read about Thomas Jefferson if he thinks like this. Because no Jew will have to read about Adolf Hitler. You wouldn't force a classroom of Jews to read about Adolf Hitler and his great things and all the things that he so-called did. So this is actually a crime. I'm telling you this, I'm not giving you the legal context, but this is a crime. Explained under Title 18, Section 1091 of the United States Code, for you to bring Thomas Jefferson in front of some black children is actually a crime that you can prosecute the school district for. You just got to organize it right. Next slide. Benjamin Franklin.
What's that book, American Saga? What's it called?
Saga America. Yep, by Barry Fell. Benjamin Franklin, a.k.a. whose real name was Richard Saunders. He said it so many times it's ridiculous. Ben Franklin is a code word. Franklin means the wise one, because he was a trickster. But this is some communications about him. It should not be surprising to learn that Franklin's views on slavery changed over time. When he was a young man, he bought and sold slaves in his shop in Philadelphia. Later on, he became a staunch opponent of the practice and founded an early anti-slavery society. Ben at one time offered rewards for runaway slaves as an ad in his Pennsylvania Gazette, which was one of his almanacs and newspapers. He also had his own Negro servant, who was named Peter, that accompanied him to Independence Hall in Philadelphia. Another slave owner and a racist. They hold him up, oh, this is the great founder of America. He's not great. Great to who? I don't think that white people can find somebody that's great and moral. If they can, show them. Somebody who wanted to respect all nationalities of people, who didn't have to try to make other people prisoners. Because anybody amongst any other group or nationality who tried to do that, they ostracized. Well, Saddam Hussein wants to do this. Oh, this guy. What about these people? Are you that much of a hypocrite you can't see your own malice in your own history? Or is it that you still think that black people are nothing? But you won't say it, but you'll behave like it. Next slide. Poor Richard Saunders. Poor Richard Saunders complained that some people didn't believe he existed. But I know very well that I exist. That's a direct quote. He said, I walk and eat and so on. According to Poor Richard, if you want to know who doesn't exist, it's Titans League. He was making jokes. This is a quote where he's making jokes about the opponents. This was a real person, a rival printer. Poor Richard prophesied his death, then he claimed it had happened. So Benjamin Franklin, throughout the writings of his history, he was a person who carried about 9 different names. Okay? And the reason why I'm pointing this out, because it becomes very important when you start looking at the mechanics and the foundation of the philosophies of the Republic in America. You're really dealing with the indigenous people's science that was stolen from them by these people who never wanted to live and honor anybody, or honor anything that had to do with rights. In fact, Poor Richard, or AKA Richard Saunders, also known as Benjamin Franklin, was the first one who created a debt system for the United States of America after they had declared their independence. It was him. So they were never about freedom. And some of their own brothers wrote books about it. Charles Thompson wrote a whole book about it, talking about how the founding fathers had betrayed the indigenous peoples, because he was the first Secretary of Congress from 1774 to 1789. When they came in with the Constitution, he walked out the door. This is the person who had been keeping all their records. And he stated that they was going to change and alter history because they had secret meetings to do that. Okay, next slide. Andrew Jackson, another lying racist criminal. He and Colonel Duncan Clinch took down the Moorish flag in Pelican, Florida in 1816, where Chief Sunafi Testaniki of the so-called Seminoles flew that red banner that you know of. He tried to relabel free Moors amongst the Seminoles as Negroes. That was his whole plan and plot when he got into office. This guy right here. He was also a part of the American